Okay, Kevin, so the number one question that you receive, I know because 9 times out of 10 I'm the one asking you the question, but like, hey, this isn't working, I've done 10,000 things and the paint is still fighting me every step of the way. What do you say to people who are running a business saying, I got to get this car out, I got 50 cars behind us right now, I got a ton of things to do and this thing is just not cooperating. I did this, I did that, I did this, I did that. They're in a panic and they call you. What do you say?
Yeah, you got to keep business flowing, keep money coming in. So a lot of times the best thing to do is stop on that car, walk away and relax, because you get so focused on just that one thing, and in the back of your mind is, I've got to hurry up, I'm wasting time, I'm losing money on this car, I'm going to be here all night, I got all these other people that are going to be upset.
Coming.
Right, so stop, walk away, take a break from that car, go do some other business. And then once you're calmed down or had something to eat or had a break, come back and refocus and remember that even the best in the world have the problem you're having. It's not abnormal to get a car that you just can't get to cut or to finish down properly. So slow things down and then reassess.
So procedurally, now they're back, they've had their chill pill, everything is cool. You come back, what's the first thing you do when you get there?
The first thing you do is start thinking small. Because even I used to, in the midst of this panic, I would try a test spot here and try a test spot there. I'd go to a fresh section, right? I'd want to start over in my mind and try this pad and this liquid, or bump my speed up or change the machine. All these different things I was changing when I just really needed to stay in place and do what I learned to be the most effective test spot I've ever done, which is a single one-way pass. And repeat in that lane. So what I'm talking about is literally taking my machine and finding an area that was comfortable for me to swing in, and I'd pick a pad and a liquid, and I would apply the liquid, and I would do a single one-way pass. I'd start, in this case, left to right, turn on the machine, and I'd watch them. I'm doing an inch per second, okay? And I'd stop, and I'd wipe that area, regardless of how much polish was on the surface or lack of it. I would wipe that and inspect. And if I saw no result, I would make an adjustment, right? I'd either say, okay, well that didn't work, and I noticed that my pad was chattering and bouncing and hopping. Oh, lo and behold, I can't see that it's on there, but I'm probably removing wax or polymer or silicone or a coating. I'd blow my pad clean, and I'd reapply the same amount of liquid, and I'd make one change. I might bump the speed.
So you're not jumping to like a new spot, like, I got to start over again.
No, because I need to be able to say before and after. And I need to replicate that. And I need to say, here's what's happening in this one lane. So I would use the same quantity of liquid, same pad, but in this case, I would bump my speed up on the machine. And if I didn't see a difference then, I'd blow out again with compressed air, reapply the same amount, and maybe this time I keep that speed, but I increase my arm speed, right? All the while I'm doing this, if there did happen to be a clear layer of protection that I couldn't see, it was being abraded away, right? And so by doing this single one-way pass in the same exact motion, in the same exact area, I could even at times start to feel a difference in the pad drag or how the towel wiped away the polish. So that you learn a lot by doing a single one-way pass. You have total control of that area. And we talk about residue control all the time.
Yeah, it's a big thing.
And if I deviated from that lane and came over here and did here, well, I may have just exposed the pad to a fresh layer of oxidation, wax, polymer, silicone, and it affected the cut, it affected the finishing. So again, I just destroyed my ability to efficiently and effectively diagnose what was happening and make my adjustments.
So I kind of feel like pretending this is like an onion, like you're trying to peel the onion to get to the grind, the meat of it or whatever. And if you start over on the other side of the onion, you got to start at the top again, and you're not sort of calculating how many licks does it get to the bottom of the Tootsie Roll or whatever that saying is. You know what I mean? Like how many swipes does it take? How many passes? So you're kind of just like willy-nilly. So first thing, chill pill. Second thing, do a one-way pass. And then during that one-way pass, you're assessing what's going on.
I'm assessing. And obviously, if you were to do 20 or 30 of those in one lane, you might have an issue of removing too much paint. But if the problem you're having was, hey, I'm trying to buff this and I'm not getting any cut, I'm watching the same scratches and they're not moving, well then you're not removing that much paint, right? Obviously, again, we've talked about this, you have to take a look at the vehicle and assess, is there enough paint on there? If you have a meter, use that. Yeah. If it's very textury at the top of the roof, but the tops of the fenders and the top of the hood is very smooth, it's likely somebody else polished that down and eliminated that texture. You should be careful there, and maybe not use that super shiny smooth area when the rest of the car has factory orange peel texture. Maybe go to where the factory orange peel texture is and do your single one-way passes. So you have to have some sense when you do this.
You got to have paint to polish the paint.
Sure.
Yeah, so make sure you test the paint before you do it. That's sort of a given going in from everything we're talking about. Make sure there's enough paint to polish. That kind of concept. So once you do the one-way pass, is there anything after that?
Yeah, after that, you're assessing how much defect remains if you're going after defects. Once you start to see that diminish, then you say, okay, now I'm out of my defect stage of polishing. I'm going to my finishing. And you can do that immediately, and oftentimes with the same pad and liquid, by blowing the pad out and applying either no added liquid, because there's still moisture on the pads usually, and just finish that area with what's remaining in the pad. Or if you're getting chattering and bouncing and hopping, you see some scar, maybe add the smallest quantities and ramp up on the quantity you use. So it's really it's a multifaceted test, but the main thing is to stay in that lane, single one-way passes. Usually within 3 to 5 passes, you're going to start saying, oh, I see something, it's working now.
Now, would you say, are you switching a bunch of pads with polishes? Or like, how are you doing that?
No, I think that we're very fortunate now in that we can even take a finishing polish and a finishing pad, and we get a great cut if we increase the quantity of liquid or we adjust our buffer speed. Let's say in one situation we might adjust the buffer speed down so that there's more time for the machine to do work and the pad to drag, or to increase pad drag so the grip on the paint increases.
Squeegee.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things you can do with one pad and one liquid, and most times you can get a satisfactory result, or at least to say, okay, I now know what I need to do. It's going to take a long time with this particular pad and liquid, so now that I know the procedure that it's going to take in general, I can adjust that.
Okay, so summarize, chill pill, one pass method,
single one-way pass
single
method.
one-way path, and then I like to, when I come up with, okay, how can we summarize this? I also like to do a little bit of a tangent and say, like, what's the one mistake that you could try to avoid that save you a whole lot of trouble? And I guess what I'm hearing from you is, don't turn around and, this pad's not, and changing pads and going nuts. So just stick to what you have and do that one-way pass.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yes, and then once, and usually in that one-way pass test, or a test pass, well, this just to me is the best test spot, right? It's the best way. You could say, okay, in general, hey, I did 4 one-way passes, that averages 2 back and forth. So in general, I'm gonna probably be able to get away with 2 back and forth passes across this hood, cleaning my pad and reapplying, and in general, I'm gonna touch this section of the paint a couple back and forth passes, get a pretty good result, right?
So basically you're just trying to get the recipe for how this particular car, this particular panel, this particular paint wants to be repaired or cleaned or polished or whatever it is that you're trying to do at that point.
And we're doing all the things we talked about in the ATA in this one-way pass. We're doing a mow down. We're adjusting our quantities, we're adjusting our speeds, all right there. And it makes it very time efficient, and it takes away that rapid point and shoot in your mind. You're looking at everything and freaking out about business and the other cars you've got to do. So again, if you're in that situation where you're getting frustrated and you're feeling that pressure of business and time and losing money, you stop. You take a break from this car, go do some other stuff, regain your confidence on one, like a cleaner wax, one step, and come back to this difficult one.
One-way pass, and don't use a ton of products,
Yes.
and then you'll see some results. Cool.